Right brain to right brain communication. What is this? Well, this is a technique that I've utilized oftentimes in couples counseling and with family counseling. Sometimes individual counseling because they're dealing with somebody else and they want a way, they don't understand why the conversations always seem to end poorly. But have you ever had one of those moments where you've come home, you've had an emotional day at work, there's something that's on your mind, and then you tell your friend, your spouse, your child, whomever, you tell them about your day, and they immediately launch into trying to help you fix it, to come up with a solution, to problem solve. How does that land for you? Typically, not well. I mean, yes, perhaps they're giving you a piece of information you hadn't thought about before, and it's useful, and you consider it, but there's still this emotional undertow. There's this, I feel like I wasn't quite heard, like I wasn't validated for the day. I appreciate the trying to help me through this, but all I was really looking for was just a simple validation that, wow, that was a pretty tough day. I don't know if I would have done any better, kind of a phrase. The right brain to right brain is simply responding to a person's emotional statement in such a way that you're letting them understand that you have some idea of what's going on in their emotional state, this current emotional state. Now the other response, the response that we all typically move to, is that somebody comes in, they give you this big giant emotional overview of what the day was like, and you try to fix it. That is a left brain response. That is pretty much the prefrontal cortex and the left side of the brain doing what it does best, trying to solve a problem. And like I said, a lot of times a left brain response is exactly what we need out in the world, especially with colleagues. Hey, we got a problem, okay, what about this? But when somebody comes in, especially somebody that's close to you, they're not necessarily looking for a solution. They've probably already gone through a list of solutions in their mind. And all you're doing is reiterating things that they've already thought of. And they're like, well, what do you think? I'm stupid? And this is a common thing I hear from one of the couples or the spouses that I'm working with, or even the child and parent. The child already had an idea of what they wanted to do. The parents reiterated it, and the child's like, well, no, duh, I already figured that out, but I still feel this way. What do I do about feeling this way? And the best thing we can do for somebody in that case is simply just to reach out and say, yeah, it sounds like you had a really tough day. So here's a quick example. My wife comes home, she's talking about XYZ at work, she's talking about how she felt it was unfair, or it was overwhelming, or there's too much work, or whatever the problem had to be. And my first response is typically, wow, that sucks. Sounds like you've had one heck of a day. Yeah, it was terrible. I couldn't believe that this happened. And then I might start to tease into a left brain. Well, have you thought of any possible ways you might move? Because what I really want to know is, has there been any thought behind this at all, or is this fresh? Is it just emotions that are just churning away in the background? And then if the conversation opens, if the person feels like they've been heard, they might be open to exploring some of the ideas on their mind, and then that would be the time to begin to suggest other things they may have missed. What does this sound like? Does this sound like this might be something that'd be useful for you? Does this sound like something that you would like to have happen when you're in one of these states? And maybe you're not a person who typically has these. It's just completely, you're not connecting to this at all. And that's fine, because there are some people based upon personality traits who will have a less of a reactive state. And you may have a difficult time understanding somebody who's further up on a scale and they are more volatile and they do react more emotionally or strongly to different things happening in their life. So consider that. But still understand that this technique, whether you relate to it or not, does work. I've seen it work. I've utilized it myself. I've had it done with me. I've utilized this in countless families. And when they can do this, when they can actually begin to relate right brain to right brain, it almost always goes in a good direction. They're able to be more open, to be completely present, and then just allowing the person to have that space allows them to open up and start a conversation even further, which may lead to problem solving, or at least will help them feel validated, solid, and secure so that they can make the decision that they've been thinking about on their own. Now, if you've missed it, one of my past videos actually goes into the pause technique, and these two particular techniques pair very well together. So if you have a moment, you might want to take a look at that video as well. In the meantime, don't take my word on this. Get out there and experiment with this yourself. Next time somebody is giving you something that looks like it's emotionally charged, see if you can recognize the emotion, describe it back to them, and let them know how you would feel if you were in that situation, and see where it goes from there. Because once again, what do you have to lose?